And we're live. 8 Eastern on the dot. Lars was in here earlier, puts up a link to our banners. They are in the shop. They're cool banners in popular demand. So if you want one, go ahead and place an order. And we will have them at the event also. But with that, let's see who all was here early. Colleen Tebow was here. Unfinished Project, of course. Thank you both for being here. Unfinished Project is working on a U-joint job on a front axle. Russell, Hot Rod Guy Garage. Dean Stevenson from the other side of the globe. We have Buff Del Campo, Turbo Tom. Turbo Tom, yes, I got your stickers. I was going to tell you as soon as I saw you on live. Very cool of you. Thank you very much. But I do have the stickers. That's great. They'll make the next revision of the board. Clint Street Machines, SSR Performance says, "What's up, John?" Well, in addition to me, who I'm sure no one in their right mind came here to see, we should be having some folks joining us, maybe coming in and out, who are participating in the burnout competition at the No Name Nationals. So we'll see who shows up for that. Ryan Barsness, Smoke Wrench Sean, what's going on, sir? My mom stops by. Mater did a No Name Nationals 24 mail call video today. Okay, I'll check that out. Big Bad Jones, my Aunt Nancy is here. Well, cool. Wanted to greet some folks as they came in. Tonight, as you know, you have 26 days, 3 hours, 58 minutes before the third annual AHRA No Name Nationals. And tonight is our opportunity to talk burnouts. So, in the summertime, sometimes Fridays are tough to come by. I realize that. So I just said, hey, anybody who's free to show up, participate in the burnout competition, come on in. Bad Tree Blake, smoke them till they pop. Also assemble. Bad Tree Blake is a burnout guy. He is good. And for those of you who did not get to see him in the burnout pit at the first annual No Name Nationals, it is really good. What's it's kind of funny is when we were doing the barricades, Dallas and I we're talking about, well, what if somebody does this and what if somebody does that? And I said, well, there's a huge disparity of skill that could be in this pit. I said, some of these people, we couldn't have an I-beam around here and account for anything that could go on. I said, I would lay in the middle of the pit and Blake could do donuts around me and it wouldn't scare me. So everybody's just a different level of skill. But Blake is really good in that pit. It's just that he was piloting the Nacho the first year, the Death Pumpkin the second year, and this Duster the third. So, but anyway, you never know. Blake could pop back up in the burnout pit sometime, and it's a treat. But we should have the Dirty Hippie, who is also very good. I don't know what's in the water up there, but those guys are both really good in the pit. NSB is here. Big Mike of the Hoopty Barn. Sean O'Brien. Thanks for coming out all. Lars says, hope everybody had a good week. As Sean says, 27 days. Actually, it's 26 days, 3 hours, 56 minutes and change, Sean. Not that anyone's counting. So you can tell my camera angle's a little goofy here. I'm still streaming off my backup, but I got the camera angle closer. I hope to have this fixed this week. So I'm just glad we can do this because streaming wasn't a thing. I mean, I remember when it just wasn't a thing, so it's really cool that we get to do it. Dirty Hippie is the MVP. Dirty Hippie is awesome. He's one of those guys that's, he kind of reminds me just Mopar Joe is one of those guys that has a good attitude, always has his stuff together, shows up, all that good stuff, and just great. Just great. If I had 100 just Mopar Joes, 100 Dirty Hippies, folks like that, I could watch the event from the stands. I really could. Slat Daly's asking for a time check. I already said it's 26 days, 3 hours, 55 minutes and change until the third annual AHRA No Name Nationals. Is that what you're looking for, Professor P? And now he says, sup, suckers. Well, Slat Daily, tonight we'll talk about burnouts. And I have the top of the burnout trophy right here. I figured I would show it off. I do not have it mounted to the trophy, but I do have it. So we'll mention this again during the stream, but it's become a tradition to for the winner of the burnout competition to donate some of the Carnage tire rubber for the top of the trophy for next year's burnout competition. So something we do, and it's one of those many cool things about this event that has organically happened. Uh, we William did it the first year, and I thought it turned out so cool. I thought, wow, that's really neat. And I mentioned it to Roland, and he did it for the second year. So I really hope we can keep this going. So whomever takes home the trophy for the third annual No Name Nationals Burnout Competition, I'm hoping will, let us more memorialize some of their tire rubber in the trophy for the fourth annual No Name Nationals. Unfinished Project puts up the link, Triple Pickle. Uh, It's the link for Dirty Hippie. However, that said, understand Dirty Hippie is part of the Bad Tree Productions cartel. So that is the Dirty Hippie's channel. That's his handle right there. But BTP is the crew. And I will go ahead and show this to you guys who are here early. This is a resin cast, and it looks like a tire, but it's a resin cast of the tire rubber from Roland's winning burnout tires from the second annual No Name Nationals. So this will be atop the trophy for the third. And we hope that we can just keep moving that tradition forward. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, he used an ashtray mold. And it's kind of appropriate. You're smoking tires, but that's exactly what he used. But he did it so he could get tire tread. See that? And of course, it always settles in the resin. William had to fight that on his too. Williams had strands of a steel belt in it. But regardless, I just think it's cool. It's one of those things. If this year's winner is not able to put it in resin, or who knows, we may not do it that way. It may just be a piece of raw tire tread atop, whatever. I just think it's neat to keep doing that year after year. Andrew Nelson is here, Nivlac 57 in the house. Thanks for being here. Sean O'Brien said, I hear that new tires don't explode and it's the old tires that destroy quarter panels. Brand new tires will send out just these long metal belts when they get completely burnt out. And so while the carcass, I don't know if the carcass is more or less likely to break in half like that, those things will just shred the paint off the quarter. Junkyard D, what's shaking, guys? Well, I put out the link. Anybody who's in the burnout competition can swing in here, and we can do that. And we got a knock at the door. It's Chris from Busted Radio Garage.
What's up, buddy?
How's it going, sir? And we had a question in here.
Busy.
When you just dropped in, you came in at just the right time. Sean O'Brien asked the question right up your alley. He said, I hear that new tires don't explode and it's the old tires that destroy quarter panels. As a person who's destroyed more tires than anyone I know, what say you?
Well, I mean, when I run my burnout tires, I run them with 100 psi, so they go one way or the other. But he's not wrong. I would prefer to run like Bias-Ply tires. They smoke better and they give a bigger boom. But I mean, you can compensate for that with psi.
Do people run trailer tires in the burnout pit since they're biased and you can usually get them in those pizza cutter sizes and stuff?
In some of the bigger events, like in Cletus's events and stuff like that, they prefer you run new sticker tires. Not saying people don't go buy old Bias-Ply tires. I know a couple people have tried to run studded snow tires, and they've been rejected, obviously, because of the studs.
Trying to make starts.
But I mean, you see a little bit of everything. I mean, I've seen guys that go through tire yards and will just grab whatever, patch them up, and they burn them. I mean, you got to keep in mind, you do 20 or 30 of these a year at 4 sets of tires. That adds up on a lot of people, and it's
Oh
hard
yeah.
to, unless you have a tire sponsor, it's hard to afford those sometimes.
Right. 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 Yeah. Yeah. I saw your pile of shredded tires behind Homer there. You were taking them out of the trunk, and they look like a porcupine or a circular saw blade or something.
Yeah, those new ones with it we just popped it. They popped weird. Now I run those a little low on pressure. I think we only run those at like 60 because there's a difference between running on blacktop and running on concrete. Blacktop will shred the tires twice as fast versus running on concrete. So we run the pressure low because obviously in those events you have to finish within no sooner than 60 seconds and no later than 2 minutes. I think Homer got his off even at that was like 48 seconds. It didn't last very long. And that was including the accident. So I don't really know how quick we got him off.
Well, see, the good thing about our pit is we just kind of let people freestyle, and we figure something's going to give one way or the other to limit that run. It'll be a
Yeah.
tire, connecting rod, a drive shaft, or something.
We've been trying to figure out how we're going to do that area down there.
Yeah.
Because Homer's not like Linda was.
Right.
So
I've been kind of wondering that too.
I know they don't want you wheel bashing that area down there. And if Homer runs like he does now, it's going to be hard to see, and I will not be able to hear anybody. So I'm going to be counting on just the drop of the car, right?
Well, we'll also have as a light. We'll also have a light for you to let you know if you blow a tire.
All right. Hopefully they go at the same time or really close.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. This is all assuming that I don't blow him up at the ice cream cruise. Hopefully he doesn't. But
so what? So you took a plug out. I mean, had some bad news there. I saw a little bit of that. What's the story on that?
Just the center came out.
Oh.
I'm not sure if he chewed it up at when we were at where in the hell was that? When we were at Tom Bailey's event, Kathy and I discussed it on the way up there. We weren't going to milk the cars anymore because we've been kind of babying them because we're like 90 grand in engines in Homer right now. And we just discussed if we're going to baby it or we're going to full send it this late in the year. And she said, to heck with it. Let's just send it. If we total him, we total him. So I got my wheel speed up. I tucked my foot under my seat and I never touched the brake. And then I hit the wall and had to get out of that mess. Well, as you've seen, when I come back around, the burst panel kept blowing off. We just kept having flames shoot off and he kept spitting out. And I'm like, something's wrong. At that point, I didn't care if we blew it up, whatever. And then I got it home and farted around with some other stuff that I've got going on. And then day before yesterday, I made that video. And I was pulling. I knew the wire was going to be roached, but I didn't think it was going to be that bad. And I pulled the plugs and I pulled 6 out. And I was like, it was 6. And I was like, yeah, that ain't good. So we scoped it. I didn't see any damage. Everything in there is forged, so it can afford to chew it up a little bit. So heck with it. We're going to put new wires on it. We're going to send it.
But your Coke transmission's holding up, right?
Transmission's wonderful. I love it. We've had a lot of compliments on John's transmission because anybody that watches the videos or at the shows, we neutral drop a lot. So when I neutral drop at 6,000, 6,500 RPMs, I got Homer's rev limiter set at $7 grand. So when we're neutral dropping that transmission and never having a bit of problem out of it. Now, keep in mind, I know John's probably cringing when I do that, but you can't get out of it because if you lose wheel speed and you lose smoke, it takes forever to get all that back. So you have to risk, especially at Tom's event when 25 grand was on the line. Do I risk John's transmission for 25 grand? Yeah. Do I risk it? Homer's engine? For sure. So, unfortunately, we didn't win. We had the wreck and caught fire, but it is what it is.
Cool, man. I didn't see. I don't know anything about the technique for the kind of stuff that you do. It's pretty wild. Um, it's pretty brutal. You're probably running 100-mile-an-hour wheel speeds in there. I'm just guessing some places.
My tip in was right at 70, and when I come in on the tip in, I don't know what the wheel speed was, because Homer doesn't have really any gauges left. But they do clock you on the way in because you do get points for that. But I don't know. Homer's probably not going to make it through the year. I've got another Cordova, so we'll redo him for 25. But Homer's engine isn't going to be the same for 25. I'll spoil it for all these people because most of these people are watchers of the channel. But I'm having it's going to be right at 10 liter 426 Hemi built, and it's going to have a 1471 blower.
Oh,
and
wow.
then Homer's current setup is going to come out. We're going to put that set in Homer, and we're going to run on alcohol, because we have to be able to compete with the Australians. And
you're going to make obscene power with that.
I have to. I mean, these guys there's 2 or 3 of those guys there that have major sponsors, and they're running, $150,000, $200,000 setups in those cars. And there's nothing wrong with Homer's engine, but that little $20,000 deal, you can't keep up with the wheel speed them guys do. You just can't. So we're just going to keep building and see what happens.
Wow. Dutch Guy's Garage is asking, when is the Aspen RT going to hit the burnout? And will the Slant 6 handle it?
Yeah, he's adorable. I know a millionth time, the RT is not going to see any burnouts. He's talking about my black RT, my T-top car, my baby, and he wants me to go out and do a run of burnout through it, and it's not going to happen. Miss Mabel, if you watch the videos, we don't own her anymore. She's owned by somebody else now. But her replacement's coming, so I'll leave that alone until we film that. But we have 2 other cars we've got to film first, and one should be here tomorrow evening or Sunday morning.
Cool. You got a lot going on.
A lot going on. Yeah.
Sounds like you're building for a big 2025.
Yeah, we have how can I say that? We have threw everything in a bag of chips at 25. 25 is going to be huge. Cars, engines. I mean, we dumped a boatload on camera equipment, and we got some stuff in the background going on with that. And then events. It's getting tough I only work 3 or 4 days a week now, and it's even then getting to where I have to choose because competitions. We want to go to Australia in 25, Canada, some other things, and it's getting difficult with YouTube and regular life. If that makes sense.
I understand that. So people were asking me some questions about the burnout tires that smoke in different colors. What's your experience with those things?
The only one I've only had 3. One was given to me by that 383 Charger. What's his name?
Oh yeah, William.
William gave me one, and I popped that. I told him I'd send it out. Unfortunately, the first time we sent it out was when Homer's engine exploded. And then I took it up for a charity event we done for the for the love of God, I can't remember his name. Anyway, we done a charity for a little boy for heart surgery, and we busted him off there for him. And that's when we done the burnout, busted the tires, and then we sank the wheels down to where I couldn't get the rear end anymore in the blacktop. And and then we ended up having to have Homer had to be pulled out of the blacktop, and then we had to fill it back in. But
wow.
And then the other 2, essentially those color tires, they come from Australia, and they're $700 a set, and they're a really thick compound, so they last a while. Now, unfortunately, the Australian cars, they still bust those off in 60 seconds. Somebody like Homer takes about 2 minutes to get them down, but they're really cool. You can get them in any color in the world. I like the ones that Derek over at Vice Group gets. They actually transition, so they'll start out red, then they'll go white, and then they'll
Ah,
finish blue. But the downside of that is once you're spinning around, all them colors mix together, and essentially you just get a purple smoke. So
okay.
it's cool for the first couple seconds.
So, so I'm interested in the tech of different things, and something that I shared on my community tab here, maybe a week or so ago. There's this $40,000 demo derby race league. That's what the purse is for demo derby, 40 grand,
Okay.
and it has really pushed these guys to evolve these cars, right?
Right.
And the way they're built is really interesting. And so, but the burnout guys, what you're telling us, they've evolved quite the same way into these really purpose built machines, and
100%.
just as you're doing. So, if you would walk us through, you're building the burnout car. You've got all the budget to compete with anybody you want. What do you the kind of things go into a top tier burnout car? Things like, power and gears and weight and tires and suspensions. The whole walk us through a general overview of how you build something like that.
Well, I can speak for me and speak for the Australians. From what I've seen from the Australian cars, theirs are fully decked out, full interior cars. They're like essentially show cars
Hmm.
with a methanol engine and rear gear. Now, obviously, they have supports and frame support and all that, but wheel speed is everything. 100%, all of it, along with power. So you just try to get a really good gear. Homer's is actually just a street gear. I think it might be a 373. I can't remember.
A lot of gear for that.
Yeah, but you just want to get a good gear and a lot of power. And as far as safety goes, they're really pushing that hard now because we've had a lot of cars explode, catch fire, wrecks. I mean, you've seen what just happened to Lynchy. He's the world champ, and he just totaled his car. And it's a wonder he didn't get hurt as bad as he did, or hurt more than what he did. But, guys are full cage in these cars now. Like I was talking to you on your live, I think, a couple weeks ago, kill switches. We put one in Homer that's on the inside, and then there's one for the outside in case I get trapped.
Right.
Fuel cells, trans blankets, blower harnesses. I wasn't going to run one. I was actually going to go against Cletus on that because we was leaving it 2 days, and then he automatically wanted a harness. Fortunately, I did because that was the event that Homer's blower blew off, and the harness is the only thing it kept at. I mean, you see how close the crowds are to us, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
I couldn't imagine if that would have hit a little kid or something. I would have just been. So
No.
ever since that, we take safety really, really serious.
I'm really glad to know you run a transmission blanket in that car.
Yep. Yeah, we run a trans blanket. I'm talking with John. I don't want to let a whole lot out of the bag because I've kind of asked him to keep this under his hat too. But this Hemi is going to have a really super nice, really super beefy, and really super safe transmission. We're going to have John build that. Full SFI everything.
Yeah.
And because I couldn't imagine it, 10,000 RPM, one of them things explodes, you're not going to have any legs left. So we're going full out safety, everything.
Cool. We're outstanding. I'm glad to hear it because I tell you, last year we talked about something like a 904.
Yeah. Well, Homer had a 904 in him when I hit the wall when I about took Cletus out. He was standing up on the wall, and that's when my seatbelt wasn't hooked in. We forgot to bolt it, and I come flying. I come in for the tip in, and I just went on the floor and landed upside down. Was looking through my windshield, and Garrett, Cletus, whatever, was looking at me like, "What are you doing?" And the 904, I think I showed it on one of my videos. It completely split it all the way around, and the nose of the starter got sucked up into the torque converter and ripped it off. And 904. Yeah, we were talking about that, but yeah, that's not going to happen anymore.
Yeah, I love the 904, but for that application, I wouldn't run one either.
No, but John built a heck of a bulletproof 727 for me. We talked about it before he done it that, I don't need any type of highway speed or something to go cruising. I need to go from park to high, and that's it. And that torque converter that he got for me, although very, very pricey, is holding on like a champ.
I'm glad you did the billet drum too.
Yeah.
You don't want
Yeah,
that coming through the floor.
I told him to just get me the best that we could get, and for what we're doing, and he did that, and we've been through Homer with what 8 or 9 really good rips. These last 2 that we've done have been to the floor, and again we neutral dropped that one twice when we got stuck in the oil, and not a problem a bit. Changed the fluid in it, and that was it.
Real quick before I grab this question to Dutch guys, what rear end is in Homer? Is it still a 9 1/4? Or?
Yeah, 9 1/4. Yep, factory
Okay.
9 1/4.
You know what's interesting is it goes to show you how tough those can be if you're not dead hooking them like you would at a drag strip.
Right. We were talking about getting like a Dana 60 or a really beefed up 8 3/4 like Linda. Linda, we put a fortune in her rear. And a gentleman named Bill Amberger, who's like a Cordoba, like the Cordoba guy, kind of like somebody's a Mustang guy or a Camaro guy, whatever. And he sent me an email and he goes, "Man, don't waste your time on that." He goes, "Throw that 9 1/4." He goes, "They are beefy and it'll hold up to it."
Oh
And
yeah.
we did. And I mean, I took it all apart and cleaned it and made sure that we didn't have any burrs or breaks or whatever. Put it all back together, still factory axles. And we're going to run it till we can't.
Yeah, cool. That's wild. Dutch guy is asking you. You had talked about LS swapping the Cordoba in the past. Is that still an idea?
That's not going to happen, and he knows better. Now, in saying that, the car that's supposed to be here Sunday, I have a 6 liter LS down there to build and put in it. We are going to forge it all out. I don't know if we're just going to run nitrous because the car is super small. It's super light. I don't think we're going to twin turbo it, but we were talking like throwing a Whipple or something on it. We'll just have to see what 25 brings.
Very cool. Now you're trying to figure out what you're going to do in that pit at Sykeston. Now it's real different than other places. Some places have a really small burnout area, like really
Right.
small, and it has a pretty good. And then you can also go to places that have a huge burnout pit.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So you contrast that with everything. What's different about Sykeston? Like, what's your game plan look like? And you got that grass in the middle of it too, which adds an extra wrinkle of complexity.
Well, I think what I'm going to do is the map I've drawn out here, because I don't want to just, to be honest with you, I just don't want to drive around and park under the lights and just rip a set off. I've said it before. If I blow the engine in front of everybody at Sykeston, I would be just as happy if I won anything at all. And because I like to put on a show for the, and I hate to say fans all the time, my supporters, right? Like last year, Linda, I was hell bent on just completely destroying that car. And I get the safety crew didn't want me to do it, and I got kind of fussed at about it, but it is what it is. So how I'm going to play Sykeston is if you tip it in the same way, essentially like you did last year, you had us come in at that little angle.
It'll be laid out.
Essentially, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them a wheel speed there, and I got to be careful because I know the barriers are safe, but I don't want to hurt anybody. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in at that angle, play that first corner. It's the biggest corner, I believe. So I'm going to come out, shoot around, spin there, run my brakes a little bit all the way down that. I'm going to say, let's say that's north end, down that northeast end, hit that other corner, spin around, and then probably come somewhere directly there where everybody's camera views, because I know everybody's going to have their phones out, and just sit there. If the tires make it to that point, I'll just bust them off right there and then pull off out of the pit. Because what I don't want to be doing is like where you were standing last year. If I'm heading towards the tip-in spot, I don't want something bad to happen. I would rather hit a tree with Homer than come towards you and hit the barricade and hit the fans and hit it. You know what I mean? So I just pop them in a safe zone right there.
Well, you got the beach, you've got the woods, and then you've got all the sand barrels, then you got the barricades.
Right.
It's a different kind of pit.
Yep. We'll make it work one way or the other.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I think it's interesting, the whole art of it. I mean, you tagged that the back of Homer, and it looked like you had some pretty good damage there. Rear spring hanger moved completely over. What did you figure out to patch Homer back up for that?
I just took like an idiot, and I just took a come along. I caught a lot of the view got me 1 million views. It's like at 1.3 million views right now. But essentially, I just took a come along and I hung I was a blanket or towels or something over the cable in case it snapped.
Right, right.
And I just pulled him back over. I just got a weld a grommet or something in there or not a grommet, but a gusset to hold that maybe in place.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it all comes down when I go to ice cream cruise, or even if assuming I'm hoping the Homer will make it till then, I want to be able to come in and tip in on that right side. So come in like this. So I'm forcing that leaf spring and that tire back into the frame. I don't want to come in this way and drag the tire and pull against the leaf spring and pull everything away from the frame. So I'm going to try to save the car as much as I can and just turn left and try to drive everything back to the frame. And then when I put him back on the trailer, he's good for Sykeston. And if I blow him up in Sykeston, who cares? If I just, that's essentially my last event of the year. We always kick around Florida in November, but you're coming up. That's the day before Thanksgiving. You got to choose family at that point, right?
Right.
So, yeah. So Sykeston's really like my cutoff point for the season. If I blow everything up there, then it kind of gives me permission to move on to 25. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I like it. Very cool. If any of you guys have any questions, feel free to leave them in the chat.
Yeah, hit me with them.
Yeah. And you run, what is that? You still run a Douglas 215 on that car? Is that what size of tire you're putting on there?
On the back?
Yeah.
No, I run Douglas 205 6015s. Now, if they're at a 205s, because granted, when I go get these, I have to go somewhere that carries Douglas, which is usually Walmart, right?
Right.
So we'll go to Walmart and we'll buy their entire stock. And if they're low, then I just go to 215s, which is actually kind of better for Homer because they're a little bit taller. And we go 215-70s, 215-75s, which narrows them up a hair. It's the same thing we did with Linda. If they're narrower and they blow off, just the debris mainly hits the inner frame. That's why we tuck everything on the inside of the frame. If you get them super wide and they mushroom out like this, then you start tearing off your trim and you get them ugly swirl marks where they just run across your paint. Right. And now, fortunately,
don't you put a bar that cuts those things though? That cuts the belts when they break?
Yeah, it's just a gator bar. I learned it from Kevin Smith at KSR. He used to do quite a bit of the burnouts. He doesn't get in them that much anymore. But essentially all he did is we took a piece of 1/4-inch steel and he shaved it down to a razor's edge. And he just welded up on the back. And if you get gator skins, the gator skin will come off and just lop it off. It just cuts it off and it'll lay off. I mean, you're going to hit it again depending on how much you loop around. But it doesn't get ripped 3/4 of the way off and hang there and just beat the crap out of everything.
Right. How many burnout cars have you when did you start doing this? Before YouTube, were you doing burnout stuff then and just YouTube has magnified it? Or did you just say, I want to try that? Whatever possessed you to start this, and when did you start doing burnout competitions?
Well, I've said this in my lives and on some of my posts. We watched Derek on Vice Grip, which I'm sure everybody in the chat has. And we went up to Indy, and this has been 4 or 5 years ago. It was the first time Garrett had ever brought anything north. And I told Kathy and I talked about it, said, hey, let's go hang out with Derek. So she's like, cool. So we didn't buy spectator passes. Back then you could just buy pit passes and be part of the back show. Well, then people started stealing and they cut rid of that. So anyway, we went and watched the burnout competition. We watched Derek run, and that's when Independence wasn't running worth anything. And he kept fuel slosh was real bad in his fuel cell. So we left there, and I told Kathy, I said, I think I want to try that. Because, I mean, we always used to do standing burnouts and crap out here in front of the house. And at that point, all my cars were in the shop. So we would just go beat up a set of tires for the heck of it. And so I had just bought Homer from New Jersey. A friend of mine, Dutch knows who it is, found this Cordoba. He drove by a scrapyard, and it was sitting on a rollback waiting for the scrapyard to open. So he called me and said, hey, I got a Cordoba here. You want it? And I'm like, sure. I said, go buy it and I'll send you your money. So he bought it. I sent him his money. I had it shipped here, and I was going to restore it to put in our collection. And as I got in the back, it almost looked like the car was backed into a pond. It was really weird. It had really weird marks on it, and the hole from the center of the rear tire back was completely gone. But from that point forward, the car is in mint condition. Not one drop of rust anywhere. So I'm like, nah, I'm not fooling with this. Here's my burnout car. So I come up here. I told Kathy, I said, she was doing supper dishes, and I said, I think I'm going to start a YouTube. Kathy doesn't care what I do. She literally doesn't. She's like, I got you 100%. So I come in here, farted around, figured it out. She's subbed to it. At this point, Derek has like a private group on YouTube, on Facebook. It's called BGG Nation. So I got on there, asked if he cared if I fished, meaning can I fish for some subs? And then we had like Halfwit Labs. We had Patina Pit Stop was in there. There was a bunch of other guys that have since started YouTube and have either gotten away from it or I don't know what happened to them. But Derek was like, yeah, cool, whatever, knock yourself out. And I think we hit 50 subs within, I don't know, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month. I don't know anymore. And off we went with building that Homer. And then at this time, I'm still buying cars every day. And the tornado had went through, I think it's Mayfield, Kentucky. A tornado went through and just ravaged the town. So Kathy and I went down to see if these people needed any help. I mean, we tried to take care of our own, you know. And in a junkyard, we seen it from the road, was this white 300. So I got to looking on Facebook. Sure as enough, it was for sale. So messaged the guy. He said, yeah, come on over. So we started that car with Junkyard Dog. And the deal was to take him to Indy a year later and just total him for the crowd. And we did that very thing. We went in and hit every wall as hard as we could and destroyed the car on the corners. And we got it back. And I'm like, man, this has got a good 360 in it. The rear end's good. We'll swap everything off the other car onto that car and we'll build Homer. So that's what we did. And we spent, 9 months on YouTube building that car. Took him back to Indy the third year and did really good. And that's when I sat down and said, we got to get wheel speed. We can't keep up with a factory 360. So I called Summit. I said, here's the deal. This is what I want to do. You guys want to jump in bed with us? Let's get this done. And of course, they're like, well, every YouTuber in the world calls you, right?
Sure.
So I'm like, I'm not talking small. I want to go all out. So I made up a shopping list that was way up in the 5 figures. And they're like, yeah, sure, let's do it. So we built Homer. And then Linda, we was keeping her going at the same time. And I think we put 4 engines in her that year.
Wow.
And the rest is history. I mean, just here we are 3 years later. This will be my 3rd year, I think, or 4th year. And we're still doing it.
And you're on Homer. Is this Homer 2 or Homer 3?
This is Homer 2. It's still the original Homer.
Okay.
It's just the renditions have changed. After we hit the wall where he about ran over Cletus, we gutted the whole front end. At that point, there was no saving it. So we just pulled it off. And I'm like, I don't like the boxed in Mopar style at the front. I just want a core support. UP has been on me like you wouldn't believe about supporting that thing. I bought the supports, got them bent, got everything to weld them in. I just got lazy and then I didn't care. So we just lopped off all the supports we could. And I said, let's sand him down, paint him. Let's do it all. And that's what we did. Dumped that big honking motor in the front and he just looks sick. We took the front bumper off, skinned all the chrome. And I was like, how am I going to put this on? So all I did was essentially just turn the bumper upside down and spun it around and it had them big fangs sticking out the front. So I drilled a couple holes and just kind of somewhat bolted it on there so it looked cool. Painted them fangs red. That's mainly just so someone didn't run their knee into them. And there he is.
I don't know. I think the whole thing of wanting to be a burnout champion is just kind of a wild thing to me. So you've been down the drag strip just to do it, right?
Right.
What other kind of stuff have you done? Like mud bog and monster trucks? Is there anything else that you would ever want to do?
We're building it. I can't give away a whole lot on this.
Don't give away anything you don't want to give away.
I've got some
curious.
stuff going on that I've been talking with Jeffro about. I'm kind of waiting to see how Jeffro's deal. I hate calling him Jeffro. I don't know if he likes that or not. Two Hacks. We're kind of seeing how Two Hacks' deal works out, and then we're going to figure out how we're going to attack that end of it. But I bought another car that's on its way. It'll be here the 13th of next month. That is going to be a full-on drag car, and that's probably what's going to take Homer's setup that he currently has now, and build like a 70s or 80s drag car, you know, with the big blower sticking out of the hood, the glittered paint job, you know, Krager wheels, and we'll just make him a nice throwback drag car. And it's not going to win records, and it's not going to go down to Florida and do anything major, but it would be cool for like the No Name National event, right? And it would be cool for like the events that we have local around town, just mainly for the crowd, to get the kids excited, and you guys know how I am on the next generation. I'm trying to get this next generation behind us interested in it. If not, this is going to just go away. So if I can try to keep pushing this forward with some of the nostalgic stuff, I think it'll work.
If you, in the world of trucks, do you do anything? You interested in anything in trucks? Be it lifted, be it lowered, be it mud, be it rock crawling, anything?
I built one truck. I used to just build mainly. Some of you it's been around here a while. I used to build custom motorcycles, and we're talking way into the six-figure, bagged out, nice motorcycles. I actually have some old footage here I need to make a video on. But in turn doing that, I bought a 99. Wait a minute, it might have been 90. I don't know. I can't remember anymore. I think it was a 99 Chevrolet K2500 crew cab, 8-foot bed pickup truck out of a field. I was coming home one day and his truck was sitting there with a camper top. And I'm like, what's the deal with that? Well, come to find out, the gentleman that owned it passed away, left it to somebody who left it to somebody else. A lot ended up with it, didn't think they could sell it, and just parked it in the field. Well, I worked out a deal and I bought the truck. So I was like, I've always wanted a super lifted truck. This thing was clean, but it was a work truck. So I built one, and we took it up, and we had, I think it was we had a 6-inch suspension lift, a 4-inch body lift, but it was bagged. So I could take the truck from roughly 11 inches and bag it down to only a 6-inch lift where people could get in and out. Because my daughter, who was super small, had to use a 6-foot extension ladder that we threw in the back seat to get in. And then at this time, this is when Kathy and I had our own company, plumbing company, and we didn't deal with like mom and pop residential. It was all commercial for like Lowe's and the malls and Justice and Dress Barns and McDonald's, and I mean just everything. But we traveled coast to coast. So in order to write off what I did to that truck, it was technically my work truck. So I had a big old set of roll bars in the back with KC lights and a grill and all these lights. And it was rode on 44-inch tires. And it was just this big, massive truck. But once I threw my name on the windshield and the toolbox in the back, it became a work truck. So we built this truck and wrote it off advertising and expenses to use it for work. And we built like this massive show truck. So I would work out of town Monday through Thursday. I would come home. My daughter would clean up the truck. That was her job. If she wanted to go to shows, she would clean the truck up all day Friday, and Saturday and Sunday we showed the truck. And then Monday when I had to go back to work, well, guess what? My truck was already clean. Didn't have to do that anymore. And we did that for 2 years while we built this truck. And all the stuff, all the trophies and all that crap still down there in the shop. But my daughter, that's a lifetime of memories hanging out with Dad every weekend, because she knew after every show she got an ice cream cone. She got to spend 100% of her time with Dad. It was just me and her, and she had to earn it. If she wanted to go, she had to clean the truck. And That little girl who today is only 4'5", 4'6", spent an entire day polishing and cleaning that thing so she could go. So it's cool memories if nothing else. But yeah, we've done a little bit of everything.
What? So you've had a lot of cars because I know you said you invest in these things. They're good investments. They go up.
They are.
You had what's the car you regret selling the most? Do you have any
Oh,
one that was like, I shouldn't have turned loose of that?
hold on a minute. What? All right, go on. Doug as my granddaughter bringing in Rosie, my dog. But the one I went, man, that's kind of a trick question because John, I'll tell you this: you can only own so many cars unless you have a caretaker to take care of them.
Yeah.
Or you can be there to do it because Dutch knows that there's a few cars that I really can't say on what they were. There was a few cars that I sold not because I needed the money or any of that. It's because of the cars weren't receiving the justice they should have been, right? So if you have 20 cars in your shop and they're all 10,000 miles or less and they're all 50 years old, they occasionally start to get drips and leaks and then stuff starts falling apart and then rust happens. And so there's one that I wouldn't have got rid of. It went to a collection, but it was to the point to where, and I've had arguments with people over this. Was it disrespectful to the previous owner to sell it, or would it have been more disrespectful to the previous owner to keep it and let it rot? So I sold the car and went into a collection that's being taken care of so I can live with myself that it's gone. And the only reason it's kind of because I bought it from a individual that had deceased and the family sold the car to me, and then I kept it for a couple of years and got rid of it. But yeah, but I buy them for investments. We got to the point, Kathy and I, that we had too many. We couldn't take care of them. They were going bad. I couldn't be here. So we put, I think, 17 for sale up in one day. And the marketplace ad went, I put like 2 or 3 pictures of each car, the price, 2 or 3 pictures of the next car, the price. Be here on October 5th at 5 a.m. I'm not dropping them a penny. You want them or you don't, come expecting to pay full price. And we were getting calls like at 2 a.m. They were already, I don't know if anybody's been near my place, but I'm live at the top of a hill and I can see about a half mile each way. And when we got up at 2 a.m, this guy was sitting up about a half mile up the road and said, I'm just waiting. So we just looked out and there were trucks and trailers lined up both directions fighting to be the first to come get these cars.
Wow.
And it was frat snowing that day. And these people came and I sold every single car. They paid up. Kathy had all of the pens where you can check $100 bills and make sure the money wasn't fake. And we had a counter in there and we had them lined up in our house in the kitchen and they just went and they were all gone. And I just didn't want to play that deal to where I'm going to take all these beautiful cars and argue with somebody over $500. And
Now,
we had people we couldn't believe these people loaded up from Florida and brought all these wedge trailers and were just whatever, knock yourself out. And we sold a bunch of my vintage Vets. They were gone. Like all my square body Dodge pickup trucks, those were like the hottest ticket. Everybody wanted those trucks. They ran off with those. I had a collection of Corvairs. They took those. I can't remember how many miles on it. It was a mint condition SSL Camino. And I can't remember where that guy came from. I mean, he drove like all through the night that night and come got it. But yeah, but it was just to the point where we couldn't take care of them. We got rid of them. And but there are some down there that I won't sell for nothing. If I, God forbid, pass away, Kathy knows what to do with them, where they should go. I have people chosen that I've met over the years that I know will take care of things. That makes sense. and
Sure.
they'll go to them.
Cool. So when you have this 17 cars, people lined up. So first of all, like, how did you price them? Did you say, well, one of these people will pay this number, or was it the kind of number where it's like most of the people will pay that number? It's just whoever gets here first. Like, what was your thought on the strategy of pricing when you do a mass sale like that?
Well, the Haggerty handles all of our insurance for all of our cars. And if anybody in the chat that uses Haggerty or even yourself, they have, a low price, and then they have like concourse, like absolutely beautiful. My argument with them was like, look, these aren't concourse, but they're unmolested. I feel that is more valuable than a restoration, right? Because they're on the
I agree
original
with
one.
I agree with
So
that.
we sat down and we talked with them like, look, hey, what do you think is the fair market value for this car? And they have that. Like, they'll tell you, okay, let's just say, Chris, that car, this many miles, we were going to insure it for 8 to 10 grand. Now, obviously, you can insure it for more than that. You just have to prove it in some cases. So let's say if it was 8 was low, 10 was high, we priced it at 9. And it didn't matter to us because we knew what we had paid for them. We weren't going to lose money on them.
Right.
But, we made out pretty good that day. We really did when it was all said and done, because all the cars come here. They were maintained. Each car had its own car cover. I don't have one up here, but they're in the shop now. But each car had its own like portfolio book, because the cars that we sold, had to be one owner. We actually kicked cars back that didn't have the original radios in them. I mean, they were as original and as perfect as you could buy. And so when they left out of here, they left with the original titles, if we could keep them, and then plus the new title, plus all of the original paperwork. There was an entire origin of ownership on each car.
Wow. Interesting. I think that's pretty cool. I knew you've done a lot of wheeling and dealing like that, but I just think that's neat. So you had all these people lined up. How did you handle it when people say 3 people there for the same car? Was it whoever came through the gate first, or how'd you do your queue?
If I'm being honest with you, no 2 people came for the same car.
Really? That surprises me.
No, we had individuals that were like, the vets were really popular. And the Corvairs of all things are really popular. But one gentleman come to buy like one of the Corvairs, and he's like, man, I'd really like to have that, like my RT. And I'm like, it's not for sale. And he goes, well, okay, well, I want that truck. Well, I'm like, well, this gentleman drove up here specifically for this truck, so I can't chain sale you, or I had the car sold for 9, and then you want to pay 11 and cut this guy's throat. Now, this dude's family come up here in the middle of the night for this car. You can take this one, and at the end of the sale, if there's any left, then you feel free to buy them. But I wasn't doing dirty for money. You know what I mean? This guy rolled up. He came here specifically for this car. He was here first. Just because you're third in line and your pockets are deeper, right, I'm not going to slit his throat.
Yeah, that's the only way to be.
And that's what we did. We didn't have any arguments. We come at AHRA wrecking a couple cars because it was snowing low down, but these people didn't care. We did everything we could. A lot of them, they didn't want them started, so we just pulled them with quad runners and got into the trailer, and they winched them on. We had a lot of enclosed trailers, so that was interesting. But everybody got out of here unscathed. We didn't have any damage, and a lot of happy people that day. A lot of upset wives, but the dudes were cool. Yeah. But
well, your wife was happy though. That was the main thing, right?
Yeah, she was happy because it was just getting to be too much. But like now we're limited down. If we get to where we just feel that that's hurting our investment, we just get rid of them. Miss Mabel was kind of a weird thing out of the blue. I had all intentions of keeping her. And I kept saying in my videos I was going to make a burnout car out of her, and I actually was probably going to do it. I was just going to take Homer's setup. It would have bolted right in, called Coke, got a trans. End of the day, I'd have been it. and he emailed me, and I mean, it was an email. I mean, and he just, please, just, name your price, whatever you got to do. And he ended up with it. So he plans on just putting it away. He's got the twin to it. And it was his mother's car. And I think that's just, it means something to him. So the story for me was more of the seller than the money.
So this is one of your viewers who heard you were talking about making a burnout car and decided to save it from that.
Yep, 100%. He just didn't want to see it happen, and he
I
wanted.
didn't either, to be honest.
I said, "You're a subscriber to the channel," and he goes, "Yep." And I said, "He goes, I'm also a member too." And I said, "Good deal. Just for that, I'll give you $500 off." And I knocked 500 off just because he was a supporter, and he was so tickled with that. And you know what I mean? It just goes back to, I mean, he takes care of us. It's, I'll do the same in return.
That's cool. That's really cool. I like that. I'm glad. It sounds to me like the right guy's got it. And if you know what I mean.
He's emailed me twice since then, and it's just the thing. I don't want to say where he lives. He's commented on the community post, so I'm sure if anybody went and read it, you can figure it out. But he's way the heck up there, and
Okay.
he's driving for like an entire day just to get here.
That's cool.
It'd be cool. I've got a bunch of the stuff. I've got a bunch of old stuff that'll go with that era of a car, plus the stuff that came with it, because I bought it off the original owner, who was 80. He was 83 or 84. I can't remember. And unfortunately, I don't want to give away. He developed a cancer. He developed some kind of cancer, and he didn't want to leave the world, I guess, for lack of a better word, owing debt to anybody. So
Right.
He reached out. I got a hold of his son. Anytime we buy from that age group, I have to have another family member present.
Okay.
Because I don't want it to be a dementia issue, or they really don't understand what they're selling. And so I got a hold of his son. He goes, "No, Dad said this is what he wants." I didn't argue.
Okay.
I paid. I never beat the price down. I pay like right at what they're asking, unless it's just astronomically high.
Right.
And he put that money towards his dad's medical expenses, and they were tickled to see it was on YouTube. I know their family watched, and I told them I was going to do that. And but I've got a lot of the items that came with the car. I'm going to give to the new owner for, I guess if he's not a spring chicken himself, but in case he wants to sell it, somebody has all the paperwork for it. Makes sense.
Okay. That's really neat. I like that you care about doing things like that, and I like to do how you handle that. You got to have another family member there, because I sell real estate, and sometimes I've done work for some people in their 80s, and you just don't ever want that thing like, do they really know for sure what's going on? You always want to do right and do honest, but I like that idea, having a family member there to help them walk through the process to make sure that everything. I like that idea. I've
Yeah,
done that before too, and just never thought about it as a policy like it seems you have. But that's pretty interesting. I like that.
yeah. We bought a Daytona. A young lady on our channel has it now. I had no intentions of selling it, and she emailed us and had a really heartwarming story about her parents and stuff about it. So we just essentially just gave the car to her for what we had in it. But that was another one. I had found it on Facebook. It was an all original 85 Daytona. Belonged to, he was a school teacher his whole life. And the car was absolutely cherry, 5-speed, beautiful, beautiful car. And he went to the store or something and was backing out and caught one of them Ballards and put a ding right in the nose. And come to find out, he had like he was beginning stages of Alzheimer's or something. And the minute I found that out, I'm like, sir, I'm going to need to have a witness present.
Yeah.
Son,
Sure.
daughter, neighbor, somebody. So we drove, I don't know, 7-8 hours over. It was right up at the Canadian border. And he come out, and I said, "Well, nice to meet you, sir." And he goes, "Well, here it is." I'm like, "Yeah, I need to speak to somebody. It's not that I don't trust you, but I can't be that guy that gets
Right.
And I'm sure there's people that would have took advantage of him, right?
Oh yeah.
So he went and got his neighbor, who then in turn called the son, and they come over and they go, "Yeah, Dad wants to let it go." And I said, "Look," I said, "I didn't mean to cause a mess." And they go, "No, we appreciate you doing that." And told Kathy we weren't leaving if we weren't leaving with it if we couldn't got that figured out. And yeah, but there's been a lot of cases that way. When I bought my RT, we got up there. We had to interview to buy that car, and I'm not even kidding. He put it on for sale on Marketplace. We called him, and he goes, "All right, you're number 7." And I'm like, "Number 7 for what?" He goes, "I'm picking 10. Then we're going to interview for it." And I'm like, "You got to be kidding me. I'll pay what you're asking." He goes, "I don't care about the money." So we, no kidding, had a phone interview. "What are you going to do with the car? Why do you want it? What are you going to do?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to keep it." I told him the story with my old man, the reason I wanted the car. He goes, "It's yours. Come get it." He goes, "Don't bring $1 or less." And I'm like, fine. So we drove to Terre Haute, Indiana. We pulled up on the car, and it was everything he said it was. And we walked in. I paid him the cash. He went through it all. We had to go to a church to load it. And we pulled the car up about halfway up on the trailer, and this dude starts crying. And I'm not talking whimpering. I mean, full on,
Man.
just. And I looked over at Kathy. I'm like, "I don't want this car no more." So I'm like, "Bud, you going to be okay?" And he goes, "Well, I bought this car new in high school." And it was a 1-owner car. And I'm like, "Okay. No, I'm sorry. If this means as much to you, I'll drop it and you can have it. I don't want it under circumstances." So we load it and we go back to his house. And I'm talking to him and we're trying to calm this dude down. He's like, and I'm like, he's unfortunately passed now. I found out last year about that. But anyway,
Wow.
his wife wanted out of the marriage and said it was her or his car. Well, I know what I would have said, especially under them circumstances.
Right, exactly.
And I said, "Yeah, I don't want the car anymore." I told Kathy didn't want it. She's like, "Nah, we're not buying. We're not getting this juju on us. We don't want it." And he goes, "No, I want you to have it." He goes, I'm just trying to get over it. The quicker you get out of here, the better I'll get." And that woman, I'll tell you this. I know this is about burnouts, but that woman actually had the nerve to mess.
No. Listen, this anything you want to do, freestyle.
Yeah,
This is great.
that lady. When we got the car, we got all the way back to here, and we stopped at the gas station. Well, I was pumping gas, and I just happened to look underneath the flare. There was a rust hole about the size of a softball. Whatever. So we got the car home. I took it to a show up in Norwalk to show all our friends. I think Dutch might have been there. I can't remember. And so when we got it back, I said, "Kathy, what do you want to do?" And she's like, "Well, we got to save the car." The thing was, there goes the original paint, right? Heck with it. I took it to my buddy. He handmade all new paint. We didn't buy factory quarter panels. He cut everything out, handmade panels for that car. Put it all in, got it all fixed, repainted it while I was waiting on stripes. And at this time, Phoenix didn't carry 78 stripes. They only carried 76. They have 78 now, but they didn't then. This lady that I bought this from had followed me on Facebook and had the nerve, after what she did to that man, beat me and Kathy up for restoring that car. "How dare you?" Every F word, called us everything but her friend. And man, I let this lady have it. I'm like, "I told your husband what I was going to do. I was going to save it to be in my collection forever. I'd never sell it. It means too much. And you're going to got the nerve after what you did to him to fault me for fixing the thing."
Yeah.
And but yeah, anyway, so I still have it. And the day that we sold all them cars, it was one of those deep pocket guys. He showed up and he's down there and he goes, "I want that." This is when everybody's standing out. He goes, "I want that RT." And I said, "It's not for sale." He goes, "Well, I want the RT." And I'm like, "Look, man, you're starting to upset me. Get your truck and leave."
Yeah, right.
And he goes, "Everybody has a price." And I'm like, "Man, you don't understand. I don't care about your money. I'll set it on fire in my shop for it. I don't care. It's not for sale." And he kept pushing, and finally we had to throw him out.
Wow.
And it was like, "I don't care how much money you have. I don't. And you laid $1 million down. I don't care. I don't want the money. That's stuff between me and my old man, and it's not for sale." And but yeah, there's just some people in this world you can't. can't get it through their head. But,
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about principle, not price, and some people
right?
don't understand that because they don't have any principles.
No,
So
no.
you can't reason with that kind of thing. That's interesting, though. What did you do about the stripes since they didn't make them at the time?
I have a set of 78 stripes down there in a box. Never opened it. Phoenix sent them to me. I just never put them on. And if I'm being 100% honest, one, they've been on there so long, I really don't want to deal with the glue issues and trying to have the paint redone. Second part of that is I like the 76 stripes better. I
Okay.
just do. They're two tone and 78 stripes are quad tone, so there's four.
Ah,
And I prefer the two over the four. But if something ever happens to me, Kathy knows what to do with the car, and who the individual that ends up with that car can do what they want.
well, Dutch Guy's Garage, I offered KFC family size chicken for that car. Deal's still valid.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I have no doubt.
Dutch, I'll see that and raise you a biscuit.
Yeah, Dutch is my boy. I love him.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I had to ask Dutch one time because I know somebody who found a Super Coupe wheel, right?
Yeah,
Just one. I'm looking for a set of the steel Ram Charger wheels. I just want a pair of them for the back of my Roadrunner because they're 15 by 8 and they're plain steel. And they're the 4.5 pattern and they're plain wheels, right? It's kind of a weird
right.
wheel to come by. Uh, but the thing is somebody found a Super Coupe wheel and I'm like, well, I know they have the brake cooling slots for what, and so Dutch schooled me about those. Like, there's no center cap attachment holes and this kind. So anyway, I got to learn not the center cap, but it was the little nubs that hold on the wheel cover. So anyway, he's like that specialist in that area when you have that kind of thing come up.
Dutch
So
is Dutch when it comes to the F body platform.
yeah,
Between him and another gentleman we know, he is.
yeah,
I mean, I call Dutch if I have questions.
sure,
I mean this with all due respect to Dutch, but he's probably the biggest F body nerd I know, and I mean
yeah,
that respectfully.
oh
Uh,
yeah.
the dude, I mean, I've been to Dutch's, I can't tell you how many times, and he's got literature and books, and he could be on here for days and tell you everything. It's unreal, but
And that's kind of a neat niche, the F body stuff too.
yep,
Hey,
yep,
Backwoods Custom Crafts is thinks knows some of those rims. I'm looking for a pair of the Ram Charger 15 by 8 plain steel wheels, 77 or 78. And if you know somebody has a pair, just hit me up. I'm kind of looking for that for the Roadrunner. Yes, I know the aftermarket ones fit a little nicer, but I like as much original, made in the day American stuff as I can get, even if it's not as nice, even if it takes work, even if it's not as good a deal. To me, I like that. I like as much of my car to be made back then as possible. I'm
yep.
strange like that.
I don't know of any, but I can ask around. I'm sure we could find you
Yeah,
some.
I mean, if you do, it's a passive thing. If you do, because right now it's sitting on rally wheels with the late '70s center caps, and to me, I'm weird like this. That's kind of an abomination. A '60s car should not have rally wheels because they came out in '70. So I'm not a purist by any stretch, but there are these few little things that bug me. Like a pistol grip, rally wheels, high impact colors, those are all '70s things, right?
Yeah,
And then the
right,
plain steel wheels and the blue and the green and these kind of things are all '60s things. And so
right.
they should go in their respective eras. And I'm just weird like that. But if you have your '68 Roadrunner and you have it painted a '72 color and want to run those, go for it. I'm just not going to. So right
There's
now, my
nothing wrong
'69
with.
Roadrunner, yeah, it's on like late '70s rallies with the starburst centers, and every time I look at it, I go, ugh. But anyway, so I'm gonna fix it whenever I find a set.
Yeah, Dutch said if Mike Slay can't get yourself a pair, Mike Slay on there. If you want to friend him on Facebook or whatever, I used to buy my truck parts from him, and the dude knows everything about them trucks. Look
Oh
him
yeah,
up on Facebook. Yep.
I've heard of him before actually. So I'm a dinosaur that doesn't do Facebook, and whenever I do something that involves Facebook, I always have somebody help me. Like, um, I think it was Unfinished Project, may have been the one who found me a grill for my van. I was looking for the round headlight grill, right? Which is
Right.
79.85. And there was a real super nice one in Pennsylvania by Don. And so Don picked it up for me and I sent him a check. So anyway, I work through third parties to do anything with Facebook because it's kind of like a Pandora's box I don't want to open. The only social media I have is YouTube, and that's it. So that's just kind of my
There's
weird
nothing
thing.
wrong with that. I'd have a hell of a lot more money if I didn't have Facebook.
Well,
That
there you go.
marketplace is a bear,
There you
man.
go.
That marketplace
Yes,
will get
Don, that grill that's in your house. That grill that's in your house. So other than the stuff that you're working on for YouTube and all of these wild 2025 plans and whatever, like what else do you guys have going on? I mean, because you got to do something else sometime. Do you ever sleep? Because it sure looks like you do an awful lot.
you. As far as sleep, to be honest with you, Kathy and I average probably 5 hours a day. That's just being honest. Um, Aside from that, Kathy and I are pretty, and she's in the other room. She would agree with you. We're pretty boring people, probably to most people. We enjoy being home.
Yeah.
Uh, we enjoy it out here on the farm. I mean, we go out to dinner probably once a week. Um, Fridays are generally Kathy and I's day. We'll generally go get lunch, get something to eat, do whatever. But for the most part, if we're not out of town, we're right here. We don't do a whole. We get into a whole lot. We can do whatever we want essentially right here. Um, that is going to sound weird, but we don't have like cable TV. We don't entertain TV that much to even have it. Um, if we're not gone, we're in the shop, or we're like today. We just disconnected from the world and we just farted around here. Um,
Love it.
we pedal farted outside. Kathy did a little bit of mowing. I worked on I cleaned our gutters, and I mean, we had that lightning strike our farm, so we worked on trying to get stuff together for getting that all fixed. And but yeah, we're homebodies when we're not on the road. We don't do a whole lot of anything.
No, I think that's great. It's so most people see me the 2 hours a week right here, right?
Yeah,
But the other 166 hours a week are not very eventful. So I get that, right?
yeah,
So this is an exciting time. We talk about cool things going on in the community and what people are doing and what people are building and how people are collaborating and what they want to bring to No Name Nationals. But I got to tell you, the rest of the time, I live a pretty boring life, right? It's like there's no drugs, alcohol, weird excitement parties, nothing. It's just, pretty straightforward stuff. So I get that and respect that.
yeah. I can relate. Yeah, we're just happy at home. We're happy being here with each other, and I mean, I'm pretty sure Squirt has probably a hard time with it. I'm sure because she's a teenager, but we keep her in mind as well. Like this past weekend, we took her out for the day to the mall and let her go crazy and splurge a little bit if that makes sense. But we were all that age once. You didn't want to be hanging around with a bunch of old people, but uh, she's got it pretty good. She gets to travel the year or travel, to different places 9 months of the year and see different towns, different, all of us do this together. So she sees the same kids each event, but she gets to see the country, which is pretty cool.
That is cool. That is cool. So, that's going to a lot of states when you're young. Uh, I would love to go to all 50 sometime. I still haven't done it. I'll be 47 this year. I still haven't hit all 50. I've got about half of them. So,
Yeah, we've covered all of the east, probably the central and the eastern side. We've been quite out west quite a bit. Our son, who is in the military, who's still serving, was posted up out there quite a bit. So we were able to go out west and see him, and then see the country out there as well, which was pretty nice. Um, yeah, I turned down a trip. We were gonna go to Texas and get a car, but right at the last minute, I didn't want to be in the truck 45 hours, and we were going to be right down at the Mexico border, and which would have been pretty cool to see, just to see the border.
Oh
and
yeah.
right at the last minute, we were like, nope. We called a trucking company. They're bringing us the car. But yeah, go 45 hours in that, and then get ready to come back, go to No Name, leave No Name, come to Missouri, go from Missouri to North Carolina, and then back home.
Oh
We'll
wow.
cut that. We'll stay home.
Buck has been to 47 states. Indirect connection Jason has been to 48 and a lot of
Nice.
Canada.
What's
Wow,
missing?
that's a long
Alaska
trip.
and what else?
Alaska and Hawaii. Alaska and Hawaii.
Nice.
My dog has been to 18 states. So
Sweet.
that's a lot of traveling, yeah. Yeah. And we would have gotten New York if we'd had a little more time when I went up to see Don here a few months ago this spring. Couldn't quite, he only lives an hour south the New York state line. I've never been to New York. So,
Well, I just went past him. Then I'd have done that. I'd have tried to swing by and see him.
yeah, he's in Williamsport. The Little League World Series is held in Williamsport. That's like that town's thing,
Yeah, I
right?
passed Williamsport on the way there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Bucks just missing Oregon. And he's been to Valiant, has been to Las Vegas. Yeah, that's a cool area. Vegas is interesting. I love all the signs, and I've been out there for firearm training. But because I don't do any of the stuff Vegas is famous for, it's just there's a limitation how much I can do. I don't drink, I
Right.
don't gamble, I don't go to any of the establishments. It's neat to look at the signs.
Yeah,
The
if I'm going to
desert's
do
neat.
that kind of gambling, I want to make sure I can get it back somehow. I don't. But Kathy and I, every year on our anniversary, we go to the casino for one night, and
Cool.
we both put an X amount of money in our pocket. We leave our wallets and purse in the truck, and once that money's
Neat.
gone, we're done. We don't
Cool.
we don't do anything else other than that. And some years that we've won and left with money, but most generally we just it's gone. I'll tell you what, a quick story on that. We went a couple years
Sure.
ago, and they had this new game up there. It was on. Any of you watch that show? What's up with the one guy always knocks on that girl's door and goes, Penny, Penny, Penny.
The Big Bang Theory.
The Big Bang Theory. Yeah, they had a game with that, and it went up on this big tall chute up the ceiling. And Kathy and I dropped like $20 in this game, and we were up like $1,800, and we had a crowd of people around just cheering and drinking and acting stupid. So we made a whole thing of it. Every time we won, we jump up and act silly and whatever. And the prize was 12 grand. And we had like we had like 98% of the money built up to get it. And directly here comes this guy and like this full on Vegas like velvet suit, and he's talking in his hand. And he goes over and sits down beside us. And I looked at Kathy, I said, something's about to go down. So these people even started quieting down, and we're playing and we're winning. And directly he goes, and the machine quit. Never won a thing. It never hit anything again. And I told Kathy, I said, and they try to tell you this crap isn't rigged. He goes, and the machine stops. Instantly quits. And it beat us back down like a grand, and we backed out. It's like, yeah, come on.
You
Yeah.
ever seen the movie Casino?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here. You're saying this. I'm thinking, oh man, you didn't see a guy with a cattle prod like sneaked up the side of his coat, did you?
No, what now? He could have had, but it wasn't there.
He might have, but you've already seen that movie, so you know it's just time to get out of there.
Yeah, time to get out of Dodge. There's like, yeah, something's about to go down. He had sure in the world. I don't know if he called in like, hey, we need to reset this, or these guys are. I told her, I said, next time we go, we're not saying a word. We're just going to play it up, get our money, and get out. But yeah.
It's funny because I've been to Las Vegas and done firearm training out there, like 4-day classes and stuff. And the security at casinos is very real. Like some places just have security theater, or they give the illusion of security, like a few cameras and a few people standing there, but there's actually no real security at all. In the casino, that is the most observant security anywhere you'll go because there's a lot of money at stake. And they're
Oh
not
yeah.
only watching the patrons, but they're watching employees because most of the theft is an inside job, right?
Yep. Yep.
So, but they also, because of that, they know who are the threats and who are not. So when I'd stay in a hotel and I go out at 6 o'clock in the morning to go training, I had to go over to Pahrump, in that way through the desert. I'd leave at 6 o'clock in the morning. I got a big bag, a whole bunch of guns and stuff on me and ammo and everything because I didn't want to leave anything in the car.
Right.
So I'm carrying all this through the casino. Those people never cared because they got to know that a sober guy at 6 o'clock in the morning carrying all these rifle cases, that's not going to be your problem.
Right.
And so they never bothered me. And you have to go through the casino because the way the law is set up there, the casino has to be open 24 hours a day to the public. Any place that you can gamble in Las Vegas, they
Wow.
can't have it in a closed room, right? Like you could have a closed room for a poker game, or you could close the room if no one's in it. But any place where there's gambling, it has to be open. That's like part of the it's part of the law so that they make sure the system is above board and that the house is being fair and it can always be supervised by the public. That's kind of the
Right.
way it's set up. So what they do is the whole first floor of all these hotels is casino, and you got to walk through it to go in and out. But that was kind of wild, and I haven't done that since that dude shot off of one of those buildings over there at a concert. So who knows?
Right.
Maybe actually I have one time, but they never. They're always looking for other stuff, but
Oh, I'm sure they
anyway.
a lot of those are veterans and they know what to look for.
Yeah, yeah. They never gave me a hard time. I'm sure there was like, probably a whole bunch of people back there watching monitors, but nobody ever bothered me.
Well, that's good. That's good. Now to go out there, I'm just not trying to pry, but to go out there for training,
Yeah,
or are you an educator or a teacher, and you had to go out
yeah.
there for your
Oh yeah.
yearly? Okay.
I've taught firearms professionally since 2009. And I don't have a regular schedule anymore because of all the COVID restrictions, right? And the gun store that I had my classroom set up in the back, he surrendered his FFL. He was having heart problems, the COVID thing. It was too much at one time, so he just retired.
Right.
And because of that, it kind of displaced my permanent classroom. So then I've hosted a few remote classes a year since then, and I haven't hosted any in 2024, but I've maintained my certs and everything. But I would go travel and train. And I've been to Las Vegas, I've been out to California, I've been to Oregon, I've been all over different places in the Southeast and stuff like that, and just traveled the country to train. And so a few of the classes I've taken have been out there in that Vegas area.
Now
Um,
training. Now training. Do you mean policy changes, or I mean
no,
obviously
I'm
your
talking
skills?
about being an operator with pistol, or
Right.
rifle, or shotgun, or subgun.
Right.
And I've just done a lot of that, and I've got lots of good stories and stuff from it. This is an automotive themed channel, but
Right.
there's all kinds of interesting stuff that we could talk about with that. I mean, I was in the airport in Reno one time, and I had a case full of rifles and pistols and mags and ammo, and I got done with the class, and I had a couple hours just to catch a nap and be on a flight out of Reno at something like 5 something in the morning. I didn't even get a shower. And so I still got all this powder residue on me. I'm like, well, here's the deal. I
Yeah.
said, I said, if the dogs are sniffing and they're swabbing, we're gonna set that alarm off like 4th of July. That's 100%.
Yep.
If it does, just be quiet, let me do the talking. We'll be okay, but it'll get exciting for a minute, right? But anyway, that didn't happen because they randomly have the sniffer dogs for explosives. So that didn't happen. But here's what did happen. I show up with this case, and the way that you get 2 ARs and 3 pistols and 25 magazines and 1,000 rounds of ammo into one case is you take everything apart. And it looks like the world's biggest game of Tetris.
Yep.
Like you've got like a bolt and a carrier and a receiver and a barrel, and it's literally just packed in there so that you can get it in one bag, right? Well, so I check the bag, and you have to pop it open at the counter. And the guy was looking like he knew it was gun stuff. He couldn't tell what it was because it's all disassembled. So anyway, I'm like, yeah, that's not gonna be the end of that. So I check it and send it back. And about 5 minutes later, and we're in this lobby with hundreds of people. This guy comes out in a nice, dress shirt and lanyard and everything. Never asked who I was or anything. It just says, "Hey, you're the fellow who checked the AR." He just knew because I had on my boonie hat and my NSR tactical shirt or whatever, or Thunder Range or something I probably was wearing. He just knew, right? Because he can tell, the kind of stuff you wear,
Right.
that that's what kind of tourist you are, right? Like I'm not traveling to ski or something. So I had to go back with this guy. And man, they were had gloves on, looking at everything, trying to see it without unpacking it, because they knew I'd never get it back in there inside of an hour. And they're like looking behind the foam in the case, and he's making all this small talk, and it's intimidating because at that airport they will pull you back to the back room and open the case with you. Now I've never had them do that anywhere else. But when you go back there, you're like, there's one way in and one way out, and there's a whole bunch of
Right.
people sitting here with badges, and it's like, man, if I got contraband, I'm screwed, right?
Right.
And I think they do that to tell people never get complacent about what you bring to our airport.
Right.
But yeah, it's just stuff like that. Most of my flying's been pretty. One time at Charlotte Douglas, I had a woman tell me, she said that she read her own airport's policy that you can leave a magazine loaded as long as it's not in the gun in the case. And I did that. And then she said, "Oh no, you can't have ammunition in your mag." I said, "Your policy says it." And she read it and she didn't understand her own policy. Well,
Yeah.
I had a flight leaving, so I picked up my mag and I flicked out about 8 rounds right there on the counter, and they're rolling everywhere. I said, "All right, later." "Oh, we can't keep these." I said, "You want them? Merry Christmas."
Get
And I
yours
went on
out.
down. Yeah, I went on down to the metal detectors. I figured there's about a 50-50 shot I was going to get a welcoming party when I got down there, but they didn't. The guys at the metal detectors, they heard about it and they were laughing when I got down there. So it
Nice.
just went away. So I sacrificed some Corbon to the gods of airport counter stupidity, but I caught my flight. All was fine. But
Yeah.
anyway, yeah. And so I've been doing that for 14 years now, 15 years now, and I enjoy it a lot. I don't have a regular schedule like what I used to, but I really enjoyed it.
Well, that's cool. Everybody's got to have
I've been
something.
talking with our friends Lars and JB about doing a class in Middle Tennessee somewhere here. Sometime after No Name Nationals, obviously. But I've been talking about doing that. I just think it'd be fun.
Yeah, it would
So
be.
yeah,
It would be.
I've never
I
had a
enjoy
class
it as
just with
well.
the YouTube gang.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, anybody have any questions for Chris? We've been kind of freestyling tonight. Just wanted to give any of the burnout guys an opportunity. I know a lot of people are busy. Russell originally said, "Oh yeah, man, love to jump in." Then he realized that they'd already had other plans made that he didn't know about, but that's okay. Jeremy said he's got to work, but if he can squeeze in, he will. That's okay too. I understand Friday night is tough, but it was open to anybody want to do it, and I'm really thrilled to have you here, Chris. I
No,
mean,
I
if you want
appreciate
to
it.
come on some other time, yeah.
Yeah, I had a blast. I'm gonna get ready to get off here myself in a minute, but
Yeah,
no.
man.
Well,
Sounds
I
good.
appreciate the invite, and we're gonna see everybody in what 26 days, four
We're going
hours,
to see
9
them in
minutes.
26 days and 2 hours and 31 minutes. Not that I
But
keep such close track or anything.
no, it's gonna be fun. We're actually talking about it already. So, but no, we're gonna come down there and blow tires or blow an engine. It's gonna be one or the other. And
Hey, Maiden's asking if Homer has a passenger seat.
it does. We've actually. I'm gonna shoot you straight. The only reason I put a passenger seat in there, aside from Kathy being able to go to the pits and ride around with me, was for No Name. I thought about doing a drawing, and whoever wins can ride shotgun during Homer's burnout. Um, Still kicking that around. I don't know if I'm gonna have to have a waiver or anything, but I think it would be pretty cool for like somebody to be able to sit in the passenger seat and scream for 30 seconds.
Well, they got to have a helmet.
Yeah.
Insurance would probably like it if they were a legal adult. But I mean, these are things we can certainly iron out. But that sounds cool. And
Yep.
and Dutch is asking, since the Aspen won't do a burnout, will you get one that can?
I'm not even going to answer him anymore. He's wearing me out.
Yeah, right.
He knows the answer to that question. But
That's it.
but yeah, it's going to be fun. I think we've actually got a pretty cool setup for Homer that I haven't done anywhere else. That we're only going to do at No Name because we're doing it in the dark. So we're going to get that all set up, and I think it'll be pretty cool. And so we'll have a nice couple surprises for everybody down there.
Cool.
But
Sounds great, man. I won't tie you up. I mean, I know it's a Friday evening. You've given us a lot of your time, and if you ever want to do another live stream sometime, we can. If you ever want to do a live stream that's even not about cars or burnouts or stuff, we can. If you want to do a live stream that's about doing giveaway stuff or whatever, we can. I mean, whatever. We'll do something fun sometime if you want.
sounds fun. I've actually got something like that coming up. I've got some new stuff over here I got to give away. I want to give away. Just finding the time to do it. Those are generally like my winter season things because I'm here more. But we'll figure it out. But look, anyway, if you don't mind, I want to thank everybody for the support. I
Appreciate
love
you.
you guys. You all know
Thanks for
that.
being here.
And we will see you guys in roughly 27 days. And and John, I appreciate the invite, sir. And
Yes, sir. We'll do it again.
as you know, I am 100% on board with what you got going on here. So,
Thank you, buddy.
other than that, guys, I love each every one of you.
All right.
I'm going to get out of here and go see my wife, and
Yep.
we'll see you soon.
See you. You take care.
All right, brother. Be good. Catch y'all later.
That was cool. That was fun. Yeah, we don't get Chris on all that often, but it was a lot of fun. He and I got together at Christmas time last year. He had a live that was running. I don't know. It was like I was 6 days or something, and so we traded places. He appeared in the middle of one of my lives and gave something away, and I appeared in the middle of his live just with no warning, gave something away, and that was fun. So it's always fun to do stuff with Chris when we can do it. But do you guys have any questions? Anything going on? Uh, Unfinished Project says Big Mike has a get together and giveaway coming up. Cool. Looks like Ray put a pinion seal on Stone Soup. Haven't seen that. I saw a video of him driving it. Ed, I've been enjoying watching your Duster's paint job. My goodness, there are a lot of rust cleanup going on in the back, but that car is going to be really clean and straight when he's done with it. That's going to be really nice. And it looks like he's using that really expensive rust-proofing paint too. So that is going to be a lasting paint job going down on that Duster. And Tony says that he is leaving. He said it up here. He says he's leaving Arizona in 24 days, 11 hours, 30 minutes, and 44 seconds. That's to allow him time to change a brake caliper on the front of the truck when he blows one up. No, we don't want to jinx him. Unfinished Project says only 4 Saturdays until the No Name Nationals. Yep, coming up quick. Coming up quick. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate it. BRG out. Well, I was glad to have him. I just sent out an invite if anybody wants to come in here and talk to burnout stuff. People are really Friday night is kind of hard sometimes, and it's usually a little tougher in the summer than the winter. Good old time for Spice Toupee. Yeah, he's a cool guy. I appreciate him. Unfinished Project wants 38 POS Racing to stash a cookie somewhere in the car. Why? Junkyard D did all that work cleaning it out. Don't put crumbs back in it. Gosh. I can't wait. I kind of get that. It's just it's real crunch time for me. A lot of stuff happening right now. Oh gosh, stuff getting coordinated, equipment rentals, purchases being made. Checkbook is on fire this time of the season, I can tell you. Cement Surfer, what's going on, Cement Surfer? Glad you can make it in here. We haven't been quite as interactive tonight. Frankly, we're just having a good time with Chris, but appreciate you guys' patience. It's been a lot of fun. Big Mike had to take some car ramps over to his son-in-law. I got to tell you, car ramps scare me to death. I have a set of those things, and it's like I don't really want to use them on anything but grass. Got to get those posters made. Yes, indeed, Joe. You will see. There are some cool things that are being done for no nationals. Joe knows about them. You'll see. Ed said made some shell pasta tonight and garlic bread. Oh man, that sounds good. I don't know how well I survive in a world without pasta. Indirect Connection says, who's bringing a non-running car this year? It's a ritual. That's a good question. Who is bringing a non-running car? That's a great question. BRG has a lot of cars and trucks. Sounds like 700. It's a lot. I don't know. Good for him. I think that's cool. Changing the oil out in the yard. Yeah, and that's the perfect place for those ramps. I'll bring my trailer, Levi. Oh, gosh. The one-eyed cat says, currently mine isn't, but I got to tell you, so Don is he's bringing the 62 Valiant with the 440. It had the 5-barrel, and I believe he's doing 2 4-barrels for this year. Is that right, Don? And then next year, Don is bringing the heat. He's bringing a fresh 440, got more cam, little head porting, going to have fresh transmission, new torque converter, will make a lot of difference. And I know he's weighing options for a rear end for that car. So that Valiant might take a pretty significant leap forward for 25. We'll see. Yeah, Don says that's correct. His plan is to have 2 4-barrels instead of a 5-barrel. And yes, I said that right. It's actually 5 barrels. Yeah, every year with this event, there's so many interesting stories that are going on. And so many interesting cars and stories and things that took a roundabout course to wind up making it in the mix for this event in this community. And it's so cool because No Name Nationals is the place where all this cool stuff kind of comes together, including Tony. If you watched Tony's truck last year, I believe it was in the low eights, and he is really putting a lot into that truck. So I saw the rear end housing for it. I don't know if it's on his channel yet or not, but wow, Tony is really putting a lot into that truck. From the looks of what he's doing, it'll hook in a mud puddle. Sean O'Brien's having to do a timing belt this daily. I understand that. Nader says, I'm hoping to have my green Meanie ready to make the trip for No Name Nationals. I'm pulling the transmission out this weekend to get it rebuilt. Nader, what is that? What kind of transmission is it? And I got to tell you, if you're taking it somewhere, dude, that's a cutting it close. Big Mike says, I'm excited to see what the Green Goblin is. Yeah, me too. We'll see what happens. We will see what happens. That's car's got a lot of engine, and we'll see. See if it hooks up. See if it can put the power down. Don says his mission is to get into the nines. I hope to surprise everyone. Don, I think you'll get in the nines. I don't think that'll be a problem. And I think with what you're doing next year, you're going to really take a leap forward. I think that's going to be really significant. We'll see. 10-1. Yeah, you'll get the nines this year. No problem. No problem. No problem at all. I think you'll get the nines right out of the gate. The big thing is when you wind up putting all that power in it and more converter, what I envision happening is you'll then run into the thing, okay, now how do I get this thing to hook up? That's what I think your challenge will be for the next season. Naders, it's a 46 already doing it myself, 97 Ram 1500. Are you keeping it an RE or are you changing the valve body going to an RH? It's not bad. They're not bad to do. Well, I say that. I've never done the overdrive section in one of those. I'm wanting to do that. I will soon, but Big Mike says, I'm fairly certain it'll be faster than the last two. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Tony says he's looking for sevens, but we'll see. I don't think that Tony's truck and Big Mike, I don't think that'd be a bad match race at all. I think that would not be a bad match race. Yeah, Dougster wants to see how it'll hook with the suspension. I think it'll hook well. And all the reports I'm hearing, the track is hooking really well. So Possum has had a track consultant come in and help give him the track prep recipe and everything. He switched back to PJ1 glue, and all reports I have gotten out of Sykeston is that track is really hooking nicely. So sounds like it's going to be no lacking for traction. Oh man, Dutch guy, we have big plans to make No Name Nationals this year. 4th of July weekend, 3 cams run flat on 3 different cars. Yikes! Oh, almost think VR1 isn't good. VR1 is good, but there's a lot of factors that are going into that cam thing, and a lot of guys are throwing up their hands and just doing rollers, and I can understand that. So, anyway, man, hopefully everything works good, and No Name Nationals 4th annual will be here in very roughly 360 some days plus that. So, how's that? Mater asks, what's the difference between an RE and an RH? RE is electronic, RH is hydraulic. And if you use a valve body from an RH in an RE, you get rid of all that computer crap, which is exactly what I'm going to do in the van. I have a 46 RE in it, or I have an 46 RE for it that I got from 38 POS Racing. And my plan is to rebuild it with a cope valve body to go to an RH, and that will go in the van for my tow rig. Now, the only downside to that is if you don't change the output shaft when you do it, you won't have a drive for a regular speedometer pinion. But if you don't care about that, then you can just run it with the one it comes with. I never really understood that, because when GM went to the electronic, they went to a Hall effect sensor and got rid of that system. What they did is they put that on top of a plastic gear drive that ran on those threads on the output shaft. So in GM, even when you went to electronic, you still had a threaded output shaft in like the 700 R4. It's not what Chrysler did. With Chrysler, when they went to electronic, they did away with the threads on the output shaft, so you can't run a regular cable-driven speedometer. And I hated it they did that. I guess it was just a little tiny bit of tooling cost where they could save a little bit of money, and so they just took that off. Now, for an all-out race application, it's probably slightly stronger that they removed it. It probably is, but for what I do, I would rather have it so I can run the cable drive speedometer. Oh, and the RE that doesn't have that will probably fit your transmission tunnel a little nicer because you don't have that speedometer cable sticking out at a big perpendicular angle. 38 POS Racing says, speaking of bringing non-running cars, I hope it's not me. Well, you are a pretty accomplished mechanic, so if it is you, you're in good shape. Unfinished Project put the link to Cope. Dutch says, I've had 3 different manufacturers on the cams, Flinati, Hughes, and Howards. Those are good cams. Lost 5 lobes of the engine, 1,000 miles. Yeah. I got to tell you, that whole, Daniel Powell Machine, he grinds cams in-house and says that he is getting away from doing flat tappet cams, not because he can't grind them, but just because of all these problems with braking. So he's just going to roller only for that reason, and I get that. Twisted Dennis is here. What's going on? Jason says, since I said it, I'm sure it'll be mine no matter what I bring. Well, I got to tell you, if you're going to break down somewhere, No Name Nationals is a whole lot better than most places you could. You got a whole lot of friends that'll help you. Big Mike says, so far I have 2 races set up for sure. Ryan Bar's Nest and Buck does it. Just like the fat girl at the prom. Just happy to be going. 38 says, I'll have 2 chances for a non-running car. NSBS Dennis, did you sell the duster? We'll let Dennis tell in the chat whatever he wants to tell about that. Don the One-Eyed Cat says, I hope your third run, I have your third run, Big Mike. We'll squabble later. Could be interesting. And Unfinished Project says, looks like I just scored another set of junk A-body headers. I typically turn them into junk. Oh, I flattened a good set one time. Dutch ordered 2 sets of roller lifters yesterday for prep. 1,200 on lifters hurts a bit. Oh, yep. Ugh, gosh. There aren't many lifters made in America anymore, though. Not many. $1,200 on lifters. Yep. Everything is so expensive now. Golly. I am really hoping that we have some policy changes that help with rampant inflation and prices as soon as next year. I'm hoping for that. I really am, because this is just killing us. I was watching something. You get like different news and financial suggestions and stuff on your homepage. SD Lauder was talking about how just things like lipsticks, perfumes. I mean, when the economy is tough, people typically will spend less on luxuries. But now it's like the kind of luxuries people spend on is going down and down and down. We are basically realigning what we consider luxurious because the cost of everything is so high. Big Mike says, I'm down for whatever. Cool. Big Mike's got a good attitude like that. Big Mike, I hope you're down to pick up some light plants for me. I hope you're down for that. My problem with light plants is just trying to sneak away. But Mike is part of the official light plant transport team. And I think it's on Cope's channel, but Cope actually did a burnout towing a light plant last year. If you haven't seen that, you want to check that out. Yeah, see, Mike's got my crew shirt. That's right. He sure does. There are only 3 of those shirts. Yours, mine, and Cope's. That's it. Aunt Nancy says good night. Well, good night. I guess I'll see you tomorrow. We need to have Aunt Nancy on a live stream on a Friday. Have her on screen. Yes, you will. So do you want to be on a live on a Friday night, Aunt Nancy? Do you want to come on screen and be live? You can do a live on your back deck out there. Dutch says the cost of milk is the highest it's been in 28 years. Oh, I'm sure. Probably not. Kind of what I figured. Yes, she has my last name. Indeed, she does. It's funny you say that because I have your envelope for your stickers, and my mom saw that, and that's immediately what she thought. She thought the same thing. If you want to subscribe to Aunt Nancy, there's a link to her channel. There you go. Gosh, I don't know. She could have a video of me on that channel. I have no idea. She might. She does. I don't know it. Don says, I want part of towing the lights. Don, if you have a trailer hitch, you could. I believe you do have a hitch on that car, don't you? I think you could do that. Here's the thing about towing the lights, though. I think you have to get them sometime after 1 p.m. on Friday, and the bracket kicks off around lunchtime on Friday, something like that, and we wrap the bracket up by 6 p.m. so that we have time to set up. So pretty much, if you're going to grab the lights, it needs to be somebody who either isn't running the bracket or goes out early. So, for example, I probably wouldn't ask somebody like Joe or Teeth Good Time Garage or any of our bracket ringers to go get the lights for that reason. I just have a hard time sneaking away. They got me doing everything at that event. I just can't sneak away. I'd be happy to do it. Video of me 5 years older than the car. I don't think there's any video of me that young anywhere. It just wasn't a thing back then. You know that, Vic. We're about the same age. Big Mike says, I'm planning on starting my live outdoors tomorrow. Going to be giving away some pretty cool stuff. Well, cool, Mike. If you already have that video set up, you can share the link for it here. Or if you're going to tell us a time, let us know. We'll go ahead and put it out right now. Oh, here we go. Yeah, Lars got you. There you go. Big Mike's Live. There's the link right there. So you can go ahead and bookmark that thing right now and just let it sit up there in your tabs till tomorrow. Okay, Mike. Well, that's cool. I know one thing. You made an impression upon those guys when you picked them up at Mike Reynolds. So they'll remember you, I'm sure. Thank you, Dougster. Yeah, it's just that picking up the light plants is something that has to be done on Friday afternoon. It can't be done after they close. It can't be done before about 1 o'clock. And so it has to be done during the bracket. So anybody who is responsible and all that and has a hitch and is not running the bracket would be ideal person to help. So we're going to have next Friday, we're going to have the 28-10-5 guys in the house talking about running fast cars. So they're going to be here next Friday, and this number will be on 20. And so we'll have some of them. And then the Friday after that, September 6th, we're going to have the bracket guys in the house. So that's going to be 13 days to go. And then the Friday after that, there should be a 6 on the calendar back there. 6, one digit, the number 6. And that's going to be our logistics live, where we talk about all the kind of things like, when the gates open, what time this is. We'll have an event itinerary that gives you a basic framework for when what happens. We'll talk about things like camping, talk about things like concessions, all of that kind of stuff. We'll talk about on the whatever that is. I think it's the 13th of September. But that will be the last slide before the No Name Nationals, and we're going to leave it open for that. So we're going to have each of the classes represented in here, leading up to that. Because the Friday after that is going to be the Friday after that's going to be it. Streaming from the burnout pit. Okay, Dougster, you got your stickers, right? Because you didn't get your CRT shift pack sent out and you picked it up there, I said, well, I just sent your stickers to Coach. So, cool. Big Mike says, I'll plan on being there early Thursday so I can help with setup. We're setting up all day on Wednesday. There may still be stuff to do Thursday too, which I'm sure there will be. But that said, the best thing you can do, if you're going to be there Thursday, the first thing to do, we're going to have tech open all day, is go ahead and get teched. The more people who can get teched early, the sooner we can get the line done, and the sooner we can go set up and go over and hang out at Lambert's. Tom says September 6th, I'll be at a wedding. Well, cool. Good. Good deal. Family first. I mean, I save these Friday evenings to hang out with you guys, but as I always say, man, it's family first. So, you got better stuff to do on a Friday. By all means, do it. But for those of you that can and want to hang out here on Fridays, that's what we do. That's what we're doing here. Now, typically, we do announce the No Name Nationals on whatever the Friday is before New Year's. On or before New Year's, that Friday is typically when we do the announcement live. That could be a little earlier this year for a certain reason, but that's typically when we do it. Dougster says, I stayed in the Cope Hotel next to the bar. Yes, you did. I actually My preference when I crash there is the couch that's in the bar because I normally sleep on just a wood floor. That's actually what I like. But I sleep on the couch. I actually prefer that. He's got a like this little hotel room set up next to his bar, but I actually like couch in the bar better. That's just me. Lars put up a link if you want to get your own 44 by 9 inch No Name Nationals banner. Yes. If you want to get a banner, these are super nice. We've got them in stock. I mean, these are outdoor grade vinyl. I mean, serious, nice grommets, handmade in America, locally. So we've got those here. We're also we'll have banners at the event too. But if you want one shipped out, go ahead and order it. We got shirts in stock, pretty much every size. We have been able to build up a little bit of our inventory on stuff like that, which helps. What I'm trying to do is if we can get enough people to commit and pre-register by Memorial Day every year, that'll put us a little bit ahead on uh, on money and give us a little bit of hedge, which will help. Probably let us do more things, project more things. I mean, and I would rather take a few years to get to that place where we have that little bit of hedge. I would rather do that than just try to, cut costs and maximize this thing as profit because I think it would start eating into the event. I don't want to do that at all. I want it to have a hedge, and if it takes 4 and 5 years for it to do that, that's great. I'm fine with that. The biggest thing we need is for more people to commit and register. I would really like to see 150 pre-registrations by Memorial Day. That's a goal. I would love to see it. But it'll happen in time. The biggest thing is go have a great time, and tell your friends, and that's the way it works. It just keeps going forward that way. And if you do still need to register, the link is pinned at the top. You can register there. You can also just type it straight in your phone, nonamenationals.com, go straight to registration. And you can register there. You can order, shirt, banner, stickers, whatever there. We have our monkey bike rule book there, our general rule book there. So if you need any of that, just go on over there. Dougster is putting together an 8x5 trailer as a torture chamber. I mean, sleeping quarters. Yes. Yes, Don. Bike weighed 89.1. Price is Right rules. That's right. That is correct. That is correct. Are you going to have one for your studio at the house and one to take on the road? Lars puts up the link for the No Name National Square site. That's the direct link. So right now, I've got the nonamenationals.com going over to the Square link, and it works okay, but I'm going to make an improvement to that for next year. Again, it's one of these little things that building that hedge would really go a long ways toward doing. To me, it's more important to keep this thing as little corporate type influence on it as possible. And so I'm okay if it takes a little longer to grow that little hedge to put into the event, because right now we've been able to make improvements to it every year, and I think it's doing great. Justin Hill, what's going on? That's how you limit the amount of torture I can put you through. You swing in with 90 seconds to go. Thanks for coming by. Appreciate you. New Guys Guitar, glad you could swing in here. I hope to get to meet you in person this year. Hope that works out. Oh yeah, one-eyed cat. Yeah, sure. Yeah, Mohawk is asking if Brian's coming this year. I last I heard Brian was. I asked him a couple weeks ago, and he said he was. So, looking forward to seeing him. I'm always reminding him because I keep getting these suggestions pop up on my feed about demo derby cars, which reminds me of Brian, of course. And the reason I get those suggestions is because I put up that link to tech inspection on the derby cars. New Guys Guitars has got a flight booked. I'll be there. Well, cool, man. Just as wish I could be there. Tell you what, if you want to make plans for 2025, take this 27, add approximately 365-ish to it probably. And yeah, you can do it. You can do it. Take your budget, divide it by the days. Say I need to put this much per day in my little budget. You can do it. Main Street Mopar says, "What's up, everyone?" Well, what's up, sir? Mater says, "I'm thinking of riding my bike to No Name Nationals in 2024. Okay. Where would be a good place to find people to convoy with? I would ask right here. Ask people in the chat. Put it on your community tab. Tag people. Tag me. Ask here. If you people who are planning on convoying, the one thing I would strongly suggest, if you're going to do convoys, and ask Barrows. Barrows says he's going. Justin Hill. I think Big B's going too. So ask there. Ask in Bucks Live. These lives are definitely the place to find someone. But do remember, if you're going to convoy, try to lay it out ahead of time so that everybody's on the same page, because convoys can only get there at the speed of the slowest person. And you really need to figure it out and do some extra planning. A convoy's fun, but it does take extra planning. Big Mike says, "I'm just hoping for one particular signature on my banner eventually. You know who?" I don't know who. I'm pretty sure I signed your banner, Mike. I'm wondering who you're talking about now. We'll figure it out. Driving, not trailering. Well, that's cool. Now, Mater, you're talking about bringing your bike. Mater, I can't. You had a spectator ticket. Did you upgrade to a registration, or were you waiting to see if you were going to get a monkey bike to do that? He's one of your mods. Oh, well, then I know who. Oh, yeah. I have the best mods on all of YouTube. I have a handful of people who do have a mod wrench, and then I got two who are standing at the drawbridge with the spear, and that's Lars' an unfinished project. Those guys are fantastic. They almost know what I'm thinking to put up the link before I even mention it. They're great. Really appreciate those guys. Got outbid on the mini bikes, so stick with spectator. Well, I got to tell you, Mater, you're going to have a blast as a spectator. You are going to have a blast. And I predict that being there is going to show you motivation for 2025. Say, oh man, I got to get in on that. That's my prediction. But as a spectator, you are going to have an absolute blast. Tony having his live tonight. Tony, are you going live tonight? Dust Devil Brian was talking about going live tonight. I don't know. But he was thinking of having a live because it's now inside of 30 days. He'd asked me that a couple of weeks ago. Tony says he's leaving out of Arizona on I-40 at 6 a.m. Tuesday the 17th. Anyone wants to convoy, hit me up. There you go. So it's like going on a cruise ship. I've never been on a cruise ship, but it's awfully cool. People grilling, having fun. We go to Lambert's. You're going to know everybody there. I mean, it's so interesting. You'll get there. You know, a lot of big events you go to, and it's like, man, I wonder if I'll see anybody I know there. This is the big event that's like, wow, did I see anybody there I didn't already know who they were? Tony says he might do a random live this weekend. Sean says, I still need to talk to Dust Devil Garage. Yeah. Brian will be a good one if you want to convoy. He's coming down. Tony's last live stream kicked his butt. Tony's last live stream kicked my butt, and I didn't even know it for about 3 days. How about that? Oh, man. If you guys could see some of the nonsense that comes with doing this, you just have no idea. Yeah, I'll tell you, it's on Friday nights when I wrap it up, it's just like, man, I am beat. And then, takes me 166 hours to rest up for the next one. Blue Grit Garage says we're in the same boat. Blue Grit Garage is doing awesome, by the way. He is almost 400 subs. And we told him that it's going to be, you got to really work for it to get the first few hundred. And then once you get it rolling, it starts going. And he is going now. Blue Grit Garage, he is really close to 400. And man, if he just doesn't stop, he's got this, because he's definitely within panhandle and striking distance right now. And Blue Grit, if you can get up to, say, 475 in the next couple of weeks, we'll do a live on my channel, you'll probably get your 500 right then and there. So your 500 moment could be in just a matter of days. He's at 397 according to Unfinished Project. There's the link. If you're not yet subscribed to Blue Grit Garage, go over there and check it out. I got to tell you, that guy's channel has come a long way. He's got some neat stuff on there. If you like Ford tech, about all kinds of different stuff for Fords and autocross, that's a good place to. That's a good channel. Go check it out. One-Eyed Cat says, who's willing to let me borrow a pair of Mopar slicks or drag radials for a pass or two? Just thinking out loud. So you don't even need that, Don. You've got 4.5-inch bolt circles, so you could probably use Ford or Chrysler wheels, and just probably somebody there. I don't know. Just ask around. It shouldn't be too hard to do. Of course, I don't know what kind of tire you can fit in the back of that car. It's an early A body, but it's got a big wheel opening, but it's got those inner fenders. So I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, Don. What's going to fit you? I'm pretty sure a 26 8.5 Mickey Thompson slick fits on there, but your car may fit something bigger. Twisted Mopar says, it'll be a surprise if I enter the gate. Either be my truck or could be with Truck and Trailer. Well, I hope you'll be there regardless. I mean, I hope you'll come out just to come hang out, if nothing else. Cement Surfer says that 9-inch rear end video of Blue Grit is worth watching. I agree. It's a neat channel. Tony says, I'll have a spare set of 28 1050 slicks. I have no idea if that'll fit on the back of Don's car, Tony, but I mean, thanks for offering, and you just have to see. Maybe that'll be the place where Don gets to try it. I don't know. Blue Grit has access to a 2024 Chevy 3/4 ton with free gas. Yeah. Miss One-Eyed Cat got a nice fire pit cooking grill they're bringing. Yes, I got a picture of it. Can't show it right now. It's on my phone, but that was cool. They're coming ready. Tony's asking if Dennis sold his car. Sean O'Brien, at a minimum, you're going to need a drive shaft loop. The axles I'm not 100% sure on, but you definitely will have to have a drive shaft loop to run drag tires. I think you're supposed to have aftermarket axles, but I think that I will ask Deke that question. It depends how much power you have, and et cetera, et cetera. But for sure, you'll have to have a drive shaft loop. Dust Devil Garage says, you still going? Well, if you're talking to me, maybe. Who was it I said that to earlier? I think it might have been Dust Devil. I said, all right, now, I think you talked me into going. No, I'll be there. I got a pulse. I'm going to be there. Yeah, Indirect Connection says, Blue Grit, if you hit 499, Unfinished Project will be there with his finger hovering above the sub button. More than likely. Big Mike says I'll be running some 28 950s. Well, Big Mike, you could get into small tire with those. Dougster says if it's free, it's for me. Twisted Mopar confirms Tony, yes, sold the car. Hopefully we'll see it again somewhere. And Dust Devil says, I think a drive shaft loop is a good idea no matter what on the I totally agree. I don't care what you're running. I think that a drive shaft loop is a good idea. If you think about it, you are one broken U joint, one broken tail shaft, one broken anything like that away from pole vaulting that car violently. I think it's always a good idea to run a drive shaft loop. Sean O'Brien, I'm not exactly sure what you're asking. If you want, put together an email with your concerns and send me, and I'll get it to Deke. If you would, I'd appreciate that. I believe you have my email, john@princetondragway.com. Send me that over, and I'll make sure to get with Deke. Blue Grits at 401. All right, Blue Grit Garage is inside of 100 subs. 99 more to go to 500 for Blue Grit Garage. And he will punch his ticket to the No Name Nationals. Just 99 to go. That's not that many. So, you know what? Go check him out. Check out his channel. See if he earns your sub. As always, share it out to your friends on your other social media platforms. And especially your Ford friends. I would think any Ford guy especially would want to. He earned my subscription, but I would think any Ford guy would be interested in what he's got going on over there. But that said, he's definitely in striking distance now. I think worst case for him would be panhandling at Lambert's with a cardboard sign. But that said, I know he can get to 500 before that. No doubt about it. Tony built his drive shaft loop for his truck today. Yep. Unfinished Product said punch that ticket. That's right, and that's how to do it. I got to tell you, the No Name 500 has really brought a lot out in people that has caused them to achieve some stuff, and it's great. I love it. Auto Salvage Outlaw says you can get 99 in a week. You can get 99 in a week. You can get 99 in a day. The biggest thing is don't quit. It's a good thing the Colorado River didn't quit, or we wouldn't have the Grand Canyon. It just goes to show you a little tiny bit every day is all it takes. But you can totally do it. You're definitely in striking distance now, man. 99 to go. You can get 99 with one short. Yeah, if you make a bunch of them, you can have one that gives you a bunch. I had one video vacuum in a trunk get me 300. I mean, right on. We'll be live for a couple more minutes, and I'll go ahead and wrap it up tonight. Anybody has any questions, anything like that? One-Eyed Cat, what's the biggest No Name National sticker you got? I've actually got some templates over at the graphics shop for some big ones if you want them. I'd get you one done at cost or something like that. So let me know what you got room for. I could probably hook you up. Shouldn't be a problem. Main Street Mopar picked up an 18 spline Hemi 4-speed. Yeah, cool. Main Street Mopar, though, what I would say is, believe it or not, the quickest way to get to that is just make something run and bring it. And that will motivate you to make the rest of it go in behind it. Seaman Surfer says, I have a short with 200 plus subs. Yeah, I'm telling you. Not crazy big, but want to represent for the trip there. Yeah. Lars says, order a pair of 8-inch No Name Nationals decals. Yeah. I'll tell you what you could do, Don. You could put your banner. You could put your banner on the back somehow. That'd be interesting. Blue Grit says, I think I'm scaring people away. You're not scaring people away. Every time I look, your channel has more subs. You are gaining. Oh, and you know what else, too? I think that first place in the No Name 500 is Engine Light Garage. Chris, I want to say he's at 425. Gosh, you're not but 24 away from taking first place in the No Name 500. Isn't that interesting? You've made your way from the back of the pack all the way to the front. So good job. How many calls does Big Mike have? I don't know. It's a good question. Go over to his live tomorrow and hassle him about it. 427. That's what Engine Light Garage has. Blue Grits at 402. Yeah, you're 25 away from the lead in the No Name 500. You are close, man. And if you get to 475, go live with me. We'll probably get you to 500 right there. So I would be hammering it hard this weekend and next week, and I bet you'll get there with air to spare, Blue Grit. I really do. Oh, Dust Devil Garages make it 5. Oh, he's calling you out in the Knuckle Duster. Oh, my. Knuckle Duster, the Knuckle Duster and the Green Goblin, neither one has ever been down the track before. That'll be really interesting. Big Mike said he's racing everybody. Yeah, do it to it. You know, I don't know anywhere else where it's just all you can eat making passes like this. Man, there are people who've gotten to make 20 passes at a No Name Nationals. I mean, it's most places you just don't get that much track time. Tony says, my truck versus Knuckle Duster. I have no idea what Knuckle Duster is going to run. No idea at all. That car, you know, it could surprise us. It could need some suspension tuning to make it happen. Could have one little, bottleneck somewhere in the combination, which is normal. You got to sort that stuff out. But the Knuckle Duster is going to be an interesting one. We'll see. We'll see what Brian gets it baselined and then figure out, whatever it needs from there. But it's going to be good. Remember Duddy the first year? Duddy was a shock the first year. Duddy put together a pile of parts and moved it for the first time the day before the event to load it on a trailer. And then he made a bunch of passes, almost ran into sevens with it, totally exceeded everybody's expectations. That was amazing. Really was. Yep, Lars's phone's about to die. Have a great weekend. Yeah, and we're way over time too. So unless you guys have anything else, we're going to go ahead and wrap up. It's always great on a Friday night. You've got 26 days, 1 hour, 42 minutes until the third annual AHRA No Name National. So time is short. And, next Friday, I'm going to be telling you it's 19 days and change, right? That's close. Blue Grit says, see if we can make the 66 go down the track in a straight line used to turns. Hey, that's part of the challenge now, isn't it? We've had circle track cars go down the track at No Name Nationals. You would not be the first to do that. You can do it. I got to tell you, Russell, he made a 660-foot pass, and he did it in about 690 feet. That car was sideways all the way down that track. But the thing is, being a dirt track racer, getting loose like that never scared him at all. And everybody thought he'd hit the wall, and he never did. He just grabbing gears and got his foot in it over there. Oh, and that was with like a 600 gear in that car. That car was screaming at 330 feet. Russell put on a show. Russell has put on a show the first and second year with the stock car the first year, and then his truck in the burnout pit the second year. So, and Russell says he's coming back and excited. So, yes, Cement Surfer. All the links to the No Name 500, you can find all of them. You can find the running order and everything on my page. One car even had a Continental kit. That's right, Dawn's did. NSB, good to see you. Oh, it's Auto Sales. Y'all says good night, everybody. Said jumped at the same time. Sorry. ASO, later, man. Thanks for coming in here. NSB says Smoke Show. Yes, that's Russell's truck. Yeah, Russell wrecked 5 times. He just didn't hit anything. Just about. See you, Mohawk. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up. Thank you guys for coming in here. It's been a blast. Friday night, this upcoming, we're going to have the 28-10-5 guys and going to talk about instead of going slow in the burnout pit and setting tires on fire and smoking out of neighborhoods, we're going to talk about going fast in a straight line. So I hope you guys will come out and look forward to seeing you then. But later, y'all have a great weekend and take care. We're out.